Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
In this town of forgotten souls, there's a talk radio show that takes its toll. It's called Audience of One. Get on the line where Andrew and Dick are walking a fine line. Dick's got an obsession, a love untamed, trains and chickens, that's his claim to fame. Andrew brings the odd, the bizarre, the crazy. He's got news stories that drive you crazy. Audience of One, hear the voices crash. Andrew and Dick breaking through the racks in a world of chaos. They stand alone, spinning tales on the airwaves, their hearts of stone.
It's radio's version of Swiping Right, the Audience of One show on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5 FM, streaming on irlonestar.com and available wherever you get your podcast from. I am Andrew, next to the guy who refuses to sleep with the TV on. It's Dick, the free grazer Schisler. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Deed?
Gosh, I love the new format of the radio station, Hard Rock. I love it. Celebrating, we went from country to hard rock. Love it, man.
Yeah, because that really happened?
Yeah, no.
Like, when did that happen? I was like,
oh, sorry. My bad. Maybe I'm just dreaming. Well, we had an election over the weekend. Did you get out and vote?
I actually don't live in the city of Conroe, so.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's still an area for you to vote, if not in the city of Conroe. I'm sure that you can vote in a county election, right?
No, I think the county stuff is at the end of the month. Like the sheriff and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I think that's like May 28th or something.
I thought
like
it was
that.
all on the 4th.
No, they.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Yeah, I didn't get out and vote either. I'm a terrible citizen. Oh well. Have you ever? I'm sure you've voted before. Have you ever run into this thing where you're in the booth to cast your vote, and one of the propositions is written so ambiguously that you're not entirely sure if voting for something is actually voting against something, right? I hate those. And you're like, and you have to read them twice because it's like a double negative or something. Like it's a proposition to ban a bond. And you're like, well, I'm for the bond, so I have to vote against this proposition. I can't believe they can get away with that crap, but that's the way it works. Oh, well.
Yeah, I always wondered who was in charge of writing it because you think they'd be impartial. But then the way they're sometimes written, you're like, this sounds like...
Like one side really got in on this.
Yeah, and then again, it's probably some legal jargon that we don't really understand.
Oh, I would almost be willing to bet there is a lawyer that writes every single one of those propositions, or a team of lawyers.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Well, I had a pipe burst over the weekend, and what was interesting about this, at my house that is, what's interesting is I wake up in the morning, we had some terrible storms, again, roll through this area, and I wake up and I go out to get my coffee in the morning, and there's water all over the floor, and I went, oh, my roof must be leaking from the storm. That's your first thought. And my roof's not very old, but I thought, oh, man, I guess it can happen, So I put a bucket out and some towels and kind of cleaned up as best I could. The rain went away. The sun came out. I went to the grocery store. When I came back, it was still leaking. And I thought, wait a minute. It hasn't rained for hours, and it is still pouring water. This isn't making sense. So I got up in the attic and started doing a little investigation, and as it turned out, it was a pipe that burst and causing some damage, so I'm going to have to address that. I did a little makeshift JB weld on it to kind of plug up the hole in the meantime until I get the plumber out there, but I don't think that's going to hold forever. Oh, well.
Owning a home.
Owning a home with old galvanized pipes from the 1980s. Whoever thought that was a good idea?
At the time, that's what they did.
I guess so. And I mean, now everything's that PEX, that like rubber or plastic pipe that lasts forever and flexible tube, but not in 1984 when my house was built. So
okay, cool, man, cool.
Yeah. How about you, man? How was your weekend?
It was wonderful.
Stayed afloat?
Oh yeah, that was I was flooded all over around me where I was. So that was interesting where Google was not updating, and then I had to actually go to the local site. But then what's even crazier is where I live, there's a bunch of back roads. And it's funny when you see the neighborhood put up their own signs. Because it almost, like one sign I went down, they didn't put it at the front of the street. They put it like midway through the street. So you're driving, all of a sudden you see these makeshift signs like high water, don't enter. And I'm thinking, am I about to get...
Yeah, my ankle's already wet.
It's
What's
like,
going on?
Am I about to get jumped right now? Because that's what it felt like, because it was just like randomly a sign. It wasn't...
I thought you said the sign was too late.
Well, no, it's like further down the road. Because usually when they put something, they'll say like, hey, no access or something like that.
A mile up the road or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah, okay.
but no, this is like from the neighbors put it out.
Okay.
So it's like almost like you use one of those stops in
Like a
Mexico.
Sharpie?
Is
Like
it-
a Sharpie?
Well, yeah, like one looked
In a
like
cardboard
they
box?
found it in like the dumpster,
All right.
and then one had like Christmas lights around it.
So you can see it.
And so I'm thinking to myself, I was like, I'm about to get jumped. Like
Yeah.
this is a joke.
Yeah.
And yeah, but other than that, I survived. And then I was wondering, because I have a hybrid, and I was wondering to myself, like, I wonder how many people don't realize that the hybrid has a battery, so you can't really go into water like you could hypothetically with a combustion
Right.
engine truck.
Right.
And because I wasn't going to chance it, and yeah, so there you go.
Well, it's kind of like the Cybertruck that Elon Musk sort of touted as the apocalyptic-proof vehicle, and yet all it's done is prove to be nothing but a paperweight in the sand. Too cold of temperatures, it won't charge or start, and if it gets wet, it shorts out. So
Yeah,
so much
it's
for being
interesting.
apocalyptic-proof.
And one thing I love too, especially with being up here in Montgomery County when the storm was happening, I was getting phone calls and texts like, "Are you guys okay?" Like in Houston's
Yeah.
flooded. I'm like, "Well, we're not really Houston. We're
Right.
north of Houston."
Right.
And then, ironically, a lot of the flooding wasn't even due to the rain; it was just due to the spillway at the dam.
Sure. Yep.
So, which is
And the releasing of water. Right?
Yeah.
That's what usually causes a lot
like
of
it's
the
still
problems.
flooded.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and they're still releasing water.
Yeah.
And they have to, because otherwise, if they don't, I suppose it causes damage to the dam.
Yeah.
and so they've got to let it out. And if the area is already saturated,
Yeah.
it's problematic. Problematic, man.
Yeah, it's one of those funny situations you're in up here because it's locally governed by some people that no one really knows, and then they make the decision to open the dam.
The River Authority.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
interesting because now people are
mythical-
paying attention to it.
Yeah,
like, hey,
mythical agency.
especially all the people who live in from the downstream from the spillway. It's like you kind of know this is going to happen,
Yeah.
and
Yep. Every year, it seems, unfortunately. And of course, with all the growth here, you have a lot of the new additional concrete and impervious cover, as it's called,
Yeah.
that changes the fluvial movements of
Yep.
stormwater. And places that have not previously flooded are experiencing flooding now, maybe for the first time or maybe the first time in 30 years. And, I mean, this was a significantly less rain event than Harvey was, but yet some places didn't get flooded and Harvey are getting flooded now.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
but yeah, there's
Water.
There's,
What are you going to do?
I don't
What are you
know.
gonna
Well,
do?
because like the one thing I always wondered, I wanted to talk to the SGRA people because what is the counter argument of not releasing?
SJRA, San Jacinto River Authority,
Yeah.
I believe. Look at me go.
Yeah, but like I always wonder, what's the counter argument of not releasing water earlier, so you're not continuously
Well,
pumping out water?
I think it's a delicate ebb and flow, or so to speak, give and take, that they try and guesstimate how much rain is coming or forecasted and how much
Yeah,
they
but
need to
even if
release
you-
or not release.
But
It's-
if you release water, what's the counter argument? Like, why? Oh man, it didn't rain as much. Is that because the lake's not going to be as full? What is that?
Right. Well, then you got to have water to drink, man.
Do you think that's what the spillway?
I would imagine so.
No, I mean the only thing I remember hearing is
Not the spillway,
well,
but the
well,
lake. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the one thing I was always heard was the lake will lose value if it's too low, and I'm like, well, I'd rather have that than people, lose their homes
Sure,
or
sure.
potentially get stranded because there's a bunch of people got stranded.
Oh, yeah. They can't get in or out.
Yeah, and I was like, it's
terrible.
What's more important here, guys?
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it was good, man.
Far be it for me to cast judgment because I couldn't figure all that out. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I went to the grocery store and something happened to me. It was really, really kind of odd. The man in front of me got cash back, which, a lot of people do that now.
Yeah.
It's nice that the grocery store offers that. And I think the cashier gave him two $10 bills. And I saw him take one, put it in his pocket, and then he put the other one up on the counter. And they were finishing the transaction, and he started to walk off, and the cashier said, "Hey, sir, you left your $10." He said, No, that's for you. And the guy's like, oh, wow, thanks. He takes a $10 bill and puts it in his pocket and then turns and looks at me as I'm the next customer up. How's it going? I'm thinking, oh, great. Is this guy now going to expect me to give him cash? I didn't, of course. But that's kind of $10 too.
People are generous tippers.
That is a lot of money to give the guy. And meanwhile, there was a young lady sacking the groceries. He didn't give her squat. Now, I understand, like, if someone bags your groceries and takes it out to your car and unloads it. I know you have done that job. I've done that job. And every now and again, you get a little coinage flipped your way. But this was to the cashier. All he did was just stand there and move the stuff back and forth over the scanner.
Well, I guess some people live that lifestyle where they tip everybody that serves them. Which is a great Christian philosophy. So tip heavy.
Yeah, unless it was a drug deal I just witnessed.
It's true. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, he was putting some drugs into the bag, and that was his way of tipping him.
Sounds like a lot of drugs for $10.
Yeah, well, right. Maybe it was a $100 bill then.
Yeah.
That would be.
Well, no, it's funny because, especially when you have friends who worked in the service industry. Because, I mean, I worked at Kroger, but I remember Kroger, they tell us, like, we're not allowed to take tips.
Right. That's what they told us as well.
So I was like,
HEB.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, cool. But then when you get tips, you don't tell anybody. But then when you have people in your life that are like actual waiters, they always expect you to tip so much more. And what's funny is, so I'm currently seeing somebody, and the ironic part is,
what?
Her sister knows a couple of my friends because they frequent the restaurant. And so I got a message like, hey, my sister knows your friends. They're good tippers. And I was like, oh, that's how she remembers these people, because they're good tippers.
Well, see, for me, I actually did tell people, no, I can't take tips, because the tips were so infrequent that when 1 out of every 100 old ladies would give me $1, it really wasn't doing much for me, right? Give me that dollar.
I'll take that dollar,
I'll take that dollar. I mean, like, if it were very regular and you sort of depended on that tip, I can understand. But no, I felt more honorable telling them, no, I don't take tips, or I'm not allowed to take tips, than taking their $1. Although you do run the risk of them kind of being offended by it if you think about it. Oh, well.
Well, especially with certain types of jobs, because remember we always talked about that, like certain restaurants, kind of like a Luby's, for example. Like when you go to Luby's, you do have a person that's dedicated to like getting your drinks, but you can get your own drinks, and then you get your food right there at the counter. Mm-hmm. So it's like, do you tip? Or like, what counts as a good tip for that kind of thing? Like when you're doing takeout.
Yeah, I think we've had this conversation before. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's one of those weird world we live in when we have to.
We live in.
But I'm just not like, I'm always a 20% tipper.
Yeah.
Just because it's easy. Like I don't have to make a hard decision.
I tend to do 20% as well when I'm out at a restaurant or something, or a bar. Yeah. But yeah, again, we've talked about this at length. I don't want to bore the boring with tip talk. Dick, are you ever concerned about becoming a meme? Or have you ever thought about it?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned about it either, but I have thought, it's possible that I find myself in a situation where, I end up becoming a meme. And I think it depends on what it is, right? If it's an embarrassing thing where you're knuckle deep, with a finger up your nose, and you become a meme, that's not good. But if you're dancing at one of your 80s clubs and somebody thinks it's cool or funny, and then you become the meme for excitement or something like that, that's pretty cool. And I also think it has levels too, right? So if you're just something that goes viral for a couple of days as a meme, that's one thing. But I think the hierarchy of memes is if you end up in like Apple's, algorithm where you can. Yeah. Those are the upper echelons of memes, and I don't know that I'd want to be that meme famous, because I know people have been recognized now as, the person from a meme, and they have a certain level of fame, and they didn't ask for it, and they never get paid for it, nothing. Now, maybe once you get to the Apple's algorithm, I wonder if Apple then pays them something to use their likeness or image.
I doubt it. I think it is what it is, and especially with people who, I don't know how Apple works their GIFs or anything like that. They're mean, like how you can search things really quickly through like the messaging deal. Same thing with Facebook Messenger. They have like a little preset. You can just search for a quick GIF. Mm-hmm. But
80s dancing dick. Ooh, wait, no, you might get something you're not expecting on that one.
Yeah, it's funny is there's this guy I've been enjoying watching on YouTube. It's called Wild Homestead, and it's a guy in Canada, building a house. But the
They live in
dude-
houses in Canada too.
Well, the building, he's doing like a log cabin build.
Of
and
course.
He's documenting it. And the dude is a character. And I'm sitting there like, as I'm watching this, like, this guy is so creepy, but awesome at the same
time.
And like the meme potential with this dude is, I encourage people to check it out if you like watching that kind of stuff. He has no idea what he's doing, which is great. So you watch him build these houses, and he just doesn't know. He probably never used a tool in his life, it seems like. So I'm telling you, like, the stuff.
Well, they do have those baking competitions where they have people who aren't bakers,
Oh,
aren't
this-
chefs,
that-
and
well-
they give them a recipe, and they just completely blunder something. Wouldn't
this
that
guy's
be funny
unique because
if they do that for housing? They give them some blueprints,
Well, this guy's all in on it.
and nailed it.
Well, it's
Here comes
interesting.
some house that's leaning.
This guy was a interpreter in China for, I don't know, like 15 years or something, and he was an actor on their TV shows. And he's from Canada. He's a white dude, and then I guess at one point he was like, I need to get married, and I want to do something different with my life. And so he bought 40 acres and just started cutting down trees and figuring it out.
I thought you were going to say he said I need to be married, so he went to China to get him one.
Well, his opening line is basically, I want to build a house for a family of 10.
Good
And
grief.
Sophie Turner, I guess, is the actress he really likes, so he keeps mentioning her, like he has a picture of her.
Oh, God.
And then like,
Good luck, dude.
Dude, it is. I'm telling you, like, I don't know if he's delirious or is this just like a.
Well, she cheated on her ex-husband,
I have
right?
no
Who's a
idea.
Jonas brother,
I have no
believe.
idea who
Yes.
she is really, but the guy, he's putting this out there, and he's gotten like, he releases an updated episode every week, like an hour.
Interesting.
So it's going on right now, and you can follow him. And then I'm thinking, is he just doing this as like a joke? Because he is in show business, like that's what he worked for, so he understands how the world works.
Interesting.
And-
Well, if nothing else, he's made it entertaining, right?
Oh, it's so funny. All I gotta say is wolf's milk.
Wolf's milk.
Yeah, that's what he
Okay.
he always talks about, the wolf's milk, getting the nectar.
Nice.
I'm telling you, man.
Nice.
It is so bizarre, and but I like that meme. Like we talk about memes, like this guy is totally a meme, and
Well,
it's
there you go. He's
kinda-
definitely not
it's-
worried about it then.
Oh no, not at all.
All right, man, you ready to get this show started, buddy? Because I
dude,
know
let's do
I
it.
am. From CNN.com, you can already bet real money on basketball, baseball, and football, so why not skee ball, hot shots, or Dance Dance Revolution? Have you heard about Dave & Buster's now allowing gambling, or considering allowing gambling, at their restaurants?
And you know, it's funny when you sent that to me, I always assumed they already did that in
Really?
other states that allow that kind of gambling.
Oh, like maybe in Vegas, Dave & Buster's or something?
Because like it's kind of like traveling around the 50 states and you can get liquor at a Walmart.
Sure, you can do that
Like
in other
it's
states,
totally
right?
it's totally different. You're like, wait a second, they have a whole, like, this is weird. And I always just assumed when people are gambling and you own an establishment that's just games. Like
No.
how hard is it to like, hey,
Well, and see, that's the thing is, I don't understand why anybody would want to do this through Dave & Buster's, because what's stopping two dudes right now from gambling on Herky Ball as it is? Oh, man, I'll bet you $5 I can beat you. But if you do it through their app, now Dave & Buster's is probably going to take a portion of it, right off the top. Why would you just do it on your own? Doesn't make any sense
well,
to
I
me.
mean, I don't gamble, so I don't really understand the world of like FanDuel and
Yeah, and that's what they're saying is they've
DraftKings.
noticed the explosion of online gambling and betting over the years, and they're trying to recoup some revenue. And I get that, but to me, it's like if I'm just wanting to gamble on Herky Ball with my buddy there, I'm just going to bet him directly, right? And, I'm not gonna go through some app. Now, if they make it like some, this is crazy. If they do like some Vegas style. What is it? Sports book with like a huge betting board up there, and you can bet at other locations for people that you
I can see
don't
it.
know. Now,
I can see
now we're
Buffalo
talking.
Wild Wings doing something like that
Yeah,
too.
that's pretty crazy, man. But yeah, can you imagine gambling on what is it, the whack-a-mole?
That would be
pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Well, I mean,
I'm not very good at it, but I can
don't-
imagine like the punching bag game. That one would be huge for betting, right? I mean, you think this person, they have like female and male. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be so gender binary there, but they have different divisions. See who's got the
That
records.
sounds a little
and
bit
this
too
and
more
that.
organized for Dave and Buster's.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be running through an app, so I would imagine it would have to be, right?
True. Well, I mean, they already kind of have that here at the Game Changer. They have an app for the pinball, and you can track your score compared to other people's score.
There you go.
locally.
So how hard would it be then to just add a
So-
gaming element or gambling element to it? Well, I don't know. I don't think I would participate in that, although I do like Dave and Buster's quite a bit. Good
Me
food.
too.
Yeah, it's
I really
fun.
enjoy it.
As you know, I'm not a video game guy, but I totally am when I go to places like that. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like Game Changers, like you said. Sticking on this theme of games, Dick, have you ever been to a bingo hall?
Oh,
and
yeah.
played bingo? Yeah? Do you like it?
Oh yeah,
See, I don't think I've ever been.
I've been to several.
But I've played bingo like at like a I don't know, a company function or something like
Yeah.
that, or in school.
It's
or
pretty
something.
wild, man.
Okay, I was going to ask you what the scene was like. Is
Well,
it
there's one here at the VFW, and it's wonderful because you can smoke, and
well, heck yeah, you can.
so like there's. Be prepared if you go to the local VFW here to play bingo. You're going to be walking out smelling like cigarettes.
All right.
But well, I remember going there, and they got mad at me for smoking a cigar. And I'm like, are we really upset with that? Like, there's literally at least 15 people smoking chain smoking cigarettes
There
in this
is
place.
a certain
And-
difference in the smell of smoke, but I would assume that if you're doing one, you could do the
I
other.
know, but it's a lot of fun. They do paper there.
Okay.
So
Old
because
school.
I
nice.
found there's a control commission that does all the bingo in Texas, so it's
the
legit.
bingo commission.
Yeah,
huh?
no, really. Like if you look at the sheet, it says like this is an official document of the blah 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 bingo Texas gambling whatever.
Uh-huh.
And even when you get paid out, you don't get paid out what it says they're going to pay because they have to take a percentage and give it to the commission. Which I think at the VFW it's a nonprofit thing, so like they get some of the money from each winner. And
Sure.
It goes,
Oh, yeah, of
it goes
course.
there.
That's how
But
they
then
make
if you
it.
go to like Tejas Bingo, that's where it gets. And this is where I don't understand where when you want to play a game because bingo's fun because you have your markers and
Yeah.
you're doing that kind of stuff. Well, at Tejas, you can buy a computer. And the main reason is because, like, when you go to a bingo hall, you can buy sheets,
Right.
and it's today's sheet, and the sheets are usually like $15,
Oh,
and
sheet.
it's multiple games. But you can buy multiple sheets, but it's impossible to track because there's some people with like
It's a lot of sheets.
a huge area, and they're just like doing that. Well, now they have a computer at Tejas Bingo that does everything for you. So I was like, what's the point of playing?
Yeah, it's not as
Like, you're not marking
The digital
it?
version probably takes out a lot.
Because
of
the digital
fun,
version will
yeah.
literally tell you.
Yeah, that's
how
not,
you're doing.
You're literally just sitting there.
Yeah, and if
no,
it tells you to say bingo, you say bingo.
no, that's lame. No, you got to be. And if you're sleeping on it and you miss it, that's your own fault, right?
Well, the computer marks everything for you.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
in the original paper version, you got to be
yeah.
on your toes.
So I enjoy, as a friend group, we go play bingo.
Well,
'cause it's
cool, man.
fun.
Well, you might enjoy this because there is a new version of bingo that is now come to the United States, and it is not your grandmother's bingo. Bongo's Bingo, a game night that features rave music, dance-off, confetti, and wacky prizes, is now come to New York City. It's one of their biggest events. So this is interesting. It's a new take on an old bingo game, but when they say it's a rave, you know what goes on at raves, right?
Dancing.
A lot of drugs. Can you imagine dropping some acid and going and playing bingo?
Well, no, not all
Come
raves.
on.
Not everyone's doing drugs at raves.
Every
I
rave
mean,
I go to, they are.
well, I mean, people are, but I think if you go to any place late at night, someone's on drugs.
This is true too.
So if you go to any bar around
Including a
here,
radio
someone's
station.
on drugs.
yeah, exactly.
I heard the other day, it was kind of funny. I was hanging out with some people, and someone mentioned, like, yeah, Montgomery County, no one messes around in Montgomery County because of the police. Like, they're
That's right.
pretty, very
We're
stern.
straight. That's right.
So it's like, if you really want to party, you got to go to Spring. And I'm like,
right.
and when I go, when you say party, like, no drugs. If you want to do drugs, you go to Spring. I'm like, I would never think of Spring, Texas as the closest place to go do drugs.
I wouldn't either. I think of a place to like cut and shoot. No, that'd be a place you don't want to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had to laugh because that is the reputation Montgomery County has.
Yeah, well, it's good. Bongo's Bingo originated in the UK, and events have been held around the world from Australia to Ibiza. You know, I knew someone who took a pill in Ibiza, but now it has just now come to New York City this February. So you're going to go check it out, man? I don't know how you play bingo in a rave with loud music and stuff like that. I mean, to me, it sounds like you got to.
Well,
I wonder if it is electronic.
No, it's similar
It
to those
probably
things
is.
when you go to a bar and they're doing trivia. Like, there's an organized thing going on, and you have to get educated real quick how it works.
Right.
Because especially with bingo, you had to have a TV or something telling you what was drawn. Because that's one thing I like at the VFW. Everyone's quiet. You're not allowed to talk.
Yeah.
And then like, Tejas Bingo, they don't really care.
You don't have to be
and-
paying attention. That's why.
And they get free beer at Tejas Bingo. Well, not free, but a donation is
Interesting.
asked for.
I do think it's interesting, though, how some of the younger generations have sort of taken on some of the traditions of the past, like quilting and chess. Things like these
Yeah.
are really gaining in popularity again. I guess this is just one of those things. Bingo. You've got the younger generation going to go out and experiment with what grandma did, what OK boomers are doing. but yet they put their own twist on it. I like it.
Cool.
Yep. The new website, Catholic Answers, last weekend debuted an AI-generated Catholic priests to give them answers about faith. I'm not sure if you heard about this, but this is pretty funny. I think we talked about this app an app several months ago where they had AI versions of biblical characters you could talk to. And of course,
Yeah.
Satan was like all sexy looking and stuff or something like that. It was really funny. Well, this is kind of a take on that. Father Justin is the name of the priest, took his role a bit too seriously and, quote, forgave someone's sins, leading to his quick demotion. He's basically a virtual apologist. So what happens is people went online to confess their sins, and Father Justin was like, it's all good, I don't care. Probably because his learning algorithm was, after all, the internet, where anything goes, right? So people were asking, what should I
Yeah.
do, Father? Forgive me for I've sinned. And he's like, bruh, who cares? I love it. So much so that someone even asked him, are you an actual priest? To which he answered, why, yes, of course.
Well, I mean, I like it. Go for it. 'Cause that's what you need to talk to a computer.
Yeah, I know. And see, this is what I don't understand, right? When it comes to AI, they don't have any skin in the game, AI and faith, that is. When it comes to matters of faith and the afterlife, AI has no skin in the game. So I'm not sure why you would want to ask someone who isn't living, who doesn't have a soul, anything to do with religion. It makes no sense. But I just love the fact that this thing, its training materials must have been a little fast and loose. You're like, I diddled a kid. There's some websites out there you can find that. Not a big deal, apparently.
MBD. Go turn yourself in. No,
Oh, man, but he got demoted. There's a picture of him there on the site I sent you. It's pretty interesting looking. So now he's just regular old Justin, I guess. Father Justin. I don't know. I would not confess my sins to much, I would say to anybody, but much less of AI. I would think they would start mining these things.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, though, is to mine all of these confessions. And then again, I think we've talked about something like this where you can go and make a
hell of a movie.
or a book. That's where you get your ideas from.
Well, no, we were talking about those in the 90s and the 80s. They had that call-in service.
Right,
Where you
the
get to-
apology line.
The
yeah.
apology line.
Yeah,
And I'm like, that'd be genius.
And then he did. He ended up writing a book, right?
Yeah.
Or published to his magazine, something like that.
Because that would
Called
be
The
genius.
Apology, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, staying on this theme of priests, a priest from Pennsylvania has allegedly spent $40,000 on in-game purchases in Candy Crush and Mario Kart Tour using his church's credit
I
card.
love it.
Oh man, hey, these games are addictive, Dick. I mean, and as someone myself who has children who have online games they've played with in-app purchases, I can understand how, hey man, sometimes you just got to have the newest skin for your avatar.
I get
bruh.
it. I get
I
it.
mean, so yeah, but this dude racked up $40,000 in charges. I got to admit, that's a lot. That's a lot.
I mean, I remember when my nephew, I let him play on my Xbox. And next thing I know, I was getting texts going
Right.
like, "Thanks for this purchase. Thanks for this purchase."
Correct.
And I'm like, "Whoa!"
Because you had a credit card probably saved in there.
And
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten like texts before from a friend that's like inviting me to go play some game or something, and I'm like, huh? And I'll get another text from him in a few minutes saying, sorry, gave the phone to my kid, and he was playing a game, and I guess it sent out messages to everybody in there. Got to be careful with that. It is after all a
And
communication
I
device.
always wanted to meet somebody like this priest because I can understand spending a couple $100, but when you're spending
It
$40,000,
wasn't his money, man.
Well, I know.
That's
I-
why it's
regardless
easy to
of
do,
that.
but that's a ton.
because I get why kids do it because they don't understand the concept of money.
Right.
But
right.
then when you have like adults, but there's a reason why these games exist. They make money like that, and I always find that entertaining because I rarely pay besides like the flat rate because I grew up buying physical copies of video
Correct.
games.
There was no such thing as
So,
in-app purchases,
yeah, in
right?
my mind, I'm like, I pay this money, I get to play it.
That's right.
So
Well, Reverend Lawrence Kozak was charged with theft and other related crimes on April 25th. Though his $250,000 bail has already been posted. Bro, where as a priest are you getting $250,000 bail? Think about this. It's not from the church because the church is the one that sent you there, so they ain't
we don't
getting any
need
money.
you don't need 250,000.
Wasn't it like?
I think you need 10% or like 5%, depending on the state.
Tell me how bail works, Dick.
Well, when people say that, it's like, well, they don't need 250. They just need like 10% of it.
I guess.
I think
He
you're-
claims that his the transactions were linked to his Apple ID, and he maintains the transactions were not intentional. So he's like, "Oh, I didn't know this account was linked to the church. I thought it was linked to my own personal." Again, if he's spending $40,000 on his own personal,
I like it.
this guy's running a racket somehow.
I like it.
Oh man! Well, this next story definitely does have a picture. I want you to show the
Yeah, I'm pulling it up
onesies.
because I like this one.
This
a
is
lot.
pretty sad, but a lonely man was tired of being single and has decided to erect a $400 a week billboard seeking, quote, marriage and karaoke. Can't make this stuff up. If you can see what's on the screen right now, basically there is a huge sign, billboard. I mean,
I think it's great.
how big are these things, the billboards generally? It's a normal billboard sign, right? It says, lonely male can relocate to Sweetwater. Love that. Seeks female, marriage-minded, enjoy karaoke. Wait, that sounds like a command. Enjoy karaoke. Like he's commanding you to do that. I think he's looking for someone who does enjoy
then
karaoke.
don't text and drive.
This is true. And it's got his own personal phone number on there and whatnot. But can you imagine the amount of scammers
I like
this
it.
guy is getting?
I like it.
I mean,
He's
this
putting himself out there, man.
He is definitely putting himself out
and
there.
he cares about the public because don't text and drive.
Is that what it says in there?
That's what it says.
Oh, yeah, right underneath. That's probably, yeah.
That's great
Wow.
because he can put whatever he wants on there, and he's like, "Oh, let's put that on there because I
Well,
don't want."
he says his name is Al Gilbretti, 70 years old. Has already had over 400 calls and 500 emails in just 2 weeks.
Yeah, $400 a week. That's worth it, man.
Gosh, this dude is that's desperate, man.
That's not desperate.
Oh, here it is. It
He's
says
a
the-
realist.
Yeah, that's it. 20-foot high billboard depicts a picture of Al alongside the text that I already read. Yeah, there it is. So it does appear to be a full-size sign. Sounds like something you would do, man.
But yeah, I would put your face on it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ooh, that is kind of a good gag. You put somebody else's face. Well, is that because I'm handsome and you're trying to?
I would
attract the
definitely
ladies?
do it to screw with your wife.
No, now
that's
it'd be
probably
better,
why I
or
do it.
if you just put my phone number.
Like what I
That
do
would be
is I
real.
go, he's married, he's taken, wink, wink. Don't call this number. Don't email this address. Wink, wink.
Oh man. All right, man.
And your wife would get so
Oh yeah,
mad.
you think? I think I would get a little pissed as well. All right, this is probably a pretty good time to take a break. When we come back, we're going to discuss.
He's a furry.
We're going to discuss bear or man. Which would you rather encounter? Audience
Okay.
One Show when we come back.
You are listening to Audience of One with Andrew and Dick, right here on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5. Also available worldwide on YouTube, Facebook, and Apple Podcasts.
You're listening to Audience of One Show here at Lone Star Community Radio, irlonestar.com, worldwide, and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, Audience of One every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Don't forget, you can always write in Audience of One Show at gmail.com with news stories and all that kind of stuff. We'd love to hear from you guys. We were talking
You
about
can even
this.
create a billboard. It says,
Yeah.
I love Audience of One.
Yeah, well, I still want to talk about this billboard because I'm going to pull it up one more time for
right.
our watchers.
I love Audience of One billboard
So-
right there in 45.
You know, back in the day, I was telling you, like, getting on dating apps, it is like making your own billboard because you can only fit so much information about yourself, and then it has to be, like, very important information.
Sure.
So this guy sat down and said, I can only have so much room, and I want to be able to attract somebody.
And this is what he came up with.
And this is what he came up with.
Right.
So he's lonely.
Check.
Easy.
You think that attracts a lady? Is that a quality you think women like? Oh, look, he's lonely.
I think at his age, yeah.
Okay. All right. Continue.
That means
Number
that
one,
means his
lonely.
standards are non-existent.
Yeah, this is true. Okay.
He just wants someone to be in the house with him.
Right. Okay. Number two.
He can relocate.
To anywhere, apparently.
Yeah. So he's living on the streets.
No. But it says can relocate Sweetwater, like the entire town. Again.
Again, you don't really know. He only had so much space, and he seeks female marriage, which is good.
yeah. Right. He did specify female
He
marriage.
wanted female marriage.
Right.
but it's female marriage minded. So he's okay if like they're not immediately getting married. It's like that's
marriage minded. Yes, I think about marriage.
Like, yes.
I'm marriage minded.
yes. And then he enjoy karaoke.
Right. Do you think he actually likes karaoke, or do you think he's thinking that other ladies like karaoke, so he'll put that on the sign?
I mean, some dudes are weird. They have a strategy. It's weird.
This guy's going for it.
Well, no, I like it because it makes me think, what would you put on your billboard? Because I remember I was talking about this about the dating apps. It's like I don't personally like that kind of stuff because you are put in a box immediately.
Yeah.
But there is a guy or a girl out there that can help you set up the perfect profile.
Oh,
And
I'm
to
sure.
me,
Yeah,
that's
You
hilarious.
can pay people.
Yeah,
Which is
and-
probably smart because most guys are going to put something like, active guy seeking girl with nice rack, willing to relocate,
yeah. Well, I mean, some of the like.
must be flexible.
Well, no, there's some funny
No,
ones
you know,
out there
that's
that
not gonna
people
work.
post like memes of like, look at this guy's profile. It's great.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And then
they're out there.
And then because I remember looking at because you have this like moment of self reflection about it because you have to answer these questions and you're like, oh, I got to be honest. 'Cause,
Right.
you know, I don't want to tell people I'm a world traveler and I'm a billionaire. You know, I don't see why not. But you can't do that. And then what's funny about especially with guys is guys aren't really in the position to take photographs of themselves.
Not at most times. No.
So like, because usually I'm the one taking the photograph. So I was like, when I was making the profile, I wanted to make a comment. It's like, all these photos aren't me, but I took these pictures. Like that's what I want. Because I was looking at all my photos, and I'm like, none of these like look good. And so I go, do people actually hire photographers for this kind of stuff?
I think a lot of it is Photoshop, for the lack of a better word.
Yeah.
There's apps out there now that you input your picture and it'll come back and make you look as good as you want. I mean,
Yeah,
it'll change your bone structure, for crying out loud.
yeah, it's kind of creepy.
It is.
But yeah,
It starts to borderline catfish because if you look so vastly different
Oh,
from
yeah.
your profile
Oh, yeah.
picture,
Well, this guy wasn't ashamed. 'Cause
No.
it looked like he took that picture from his security camera in his
it,
house.
It does look like a Ring doorbell camera,
Yeah.
or he's like leaned back in the driver's seat of his car,
I mean, at least go to the karaoke place and take a picture with you with a microphone,
singing
bro.
something, or with a harem of ladies around. Oh wait, no, that he's lonely. I forgot. Never mind.
Well, not anymore, because that's a lot of response for a 2-week long.
Yeah, man. Again,
But
the
again,
amount of
I
scammers.
like looking at this and going, this guy really went for it, and he put whatever was was like, you know, this is how I'm going to get my lady karaoke. Duh.
I know that's what I said. I wonder if he actually likes it or thinks this will reel him in.
What was your say? What was
Karaoke.
your say?
I already said what it would be.
Well, what you wouldn't be lonely.
No, okay. So I'm gonna say must not be over 5'3".
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go anywhere on the weight because that makes me look shallow. But I don't.
5'3" is.
Well, because I'm not very tall, Dick. That's what I'm
So?
saying.
So, I had a buddy who was around your height, and he
Yeah.
dated a volleyball player.
Yeah.
And I want to say she was like 6'4" or something, like kind of obnoxiously
Okay, it gets
tall.
to a certain point where it's kind of cool.
And it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I always have a good time with that because it's just, you know, when you see them together, you're like,
Yeah. It's not radio appropriate. I've heard a
Yeah.
saying
yeah.
about tall men
So
and
you
short
would,
women.
so
But
you,
anyways,
you would have to put height requirement on
yeah,
there.
height requirement. Marriage optional. This guy says marriage minded. I'll just say marriage optional. Yes, and I guess do we have to specify? Must be female as well.
I mean, this is your billboard,
Yeah,
bro.
this is true. And someone who texts and drives. Must text and drive.
Must text and drive. I love it. You take a big risk every day. You're a risk taker.
That's right.
All right, cool. I always wondered that. Okay. Yeah.
Oh man. So I got to thinking about this the other day, Dick. Are we done? You done with this one?
Well, I mean, you answered my question.
Okay. About celebrities that keep their look like basically their entire lives. And what got me thinking about it was I saw
So like Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
He's kind of slowly.
It's the same thing, but what got me thinking about it was I saw a picture of Hulk Hogan. And it was a recent picture. You could tell he had aged. And the bro was still wearing the do-rag
Yeah.
around. And it got me thinking, like, I don't think I've ever seen him without it on. Have you?
Well, in that home video you made, he wasn't wearing it.
He wasn't wearing anything in that. Good point. Good point. Didn't he sue, by the way, and make
he won.
buku money?
He closed that media place.
Nice.
Whatever, the Gawker or whatever. He closed it
Nice.
down, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it though. He has the beach or the bleach.
Yeah, it's funny though, because I guess when you reach a certain level of fame and part of your fame is your look, you got to stick with that bit, I guess, especially if you're still trying to monetize it. Because like if you're Prince, R.I.P. Prince, I mean, no longer
Well,
with
think
us,
about
but,
Bruce
like,
Willis.
oh no.
Well, because like his starting career was he had hair.
Okay.
And then he
yeah,
went-
but that's an
and he
actor.
went straight-
I'm thinking about somebody who's got like a very, very specific
Johnny
look.
Cash.
Okay.
He always wore black. The
Yep.
man in black.
Yeah, and he had to do that basically his entire life.
Yeah.
But I was using the example of Prince and how crazy he would dress. Do you think it's kind of a beating, though? Like, when you get up in the morning, you go, man, I just got to run to the Quickie Mart to grab a pack of smokes, and you got to get all dressed up and wear your scarves
No, I don't
and
think he did that.
your leather pants and everything, because they got to keep the bit up.
Yeah.
And I just think it would be a beating to do that every single day, but I guess they do.
I don't really know.
'Cause I've never seen a picture of Prince when he wasn't absolutely, like, decked out head to toe.
I mean, why don't you just look it up?
Well, okay, I guess I could have, but I know of the pictures that I have seen, it's always like who's another one I'm trying to think of? That every time I see him, and Steven Tyler, and you think he's always got like the bandanas and stuff too around his neck and his arm, and I've never seen him wearing just like a regular T-shirt or something and shorts or jorts or something. Never. Every picture is probably he's duded up with rhinestones and everything else, right?
Well, I mean, there was a point, like looking at his history, is like when he became successful, that's when he started dressing like that. Because there was a point where, like in the 70s and 80s, he was just a normal dude.
Yeah, at some point, but once you reach that certain level of fame, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really think about it because I just think of Bob Dylan looks exactly the same, but he looks a lot more weathered. But I can't really think of anybody else that has the same look. I mean, Elvis kind of stuck with the same look, and he fluctuated quite a bit.
Yeah, he did. Weight-wise. But yeah, it was the same look. Again, kind of the same thing. You never saw him in like a I'm with Stupid t-shirt. He always had to look like Elvis.
There you go.
Yep.
Yep.
Did you hear this, or have you heard of this company called Asplund?
What?
Asplundh.
No.
Asplund. And I've seen their trucks on the road before. They're usually like this kind of dark orange color. And basically, Asplund is the largest or one of the largest tree trimming companies in the United States.
Okay.
And they're really big up in like Pennsylvania. But I have seen their trucks down here as well, and they're the company you would hire if you're doing like tree clearing for major transmission electric lines or something like that. So they're big business. Well, apparently there is a young lady who just recently married into the family,
Okay.
and her name is Catherine, and she's a small-time social influencer on the social medias. And now she has her new name, Catherine Asplund, and she found somebody else on, I guess, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, with the same name, and she politely, ever so politely, contacted this woman and said, hey, this is my new name. Would you mind selling me your profile name?
Okay.
This is my name.
I
I'm
believe
kind of a big deal, you know.
I'm kind of a big deal.
And the original or the other non-celebrity person said, well, actually, that's against Twitter's guidelines, and I would lose my account. So no, I'm not going to. Well, they kind of had this back and forth, and the Catherine Asplund social media person kind of got really snarky about it and essentially told her that she wasn't real. Went out there and said, I think you're faking this. There's only one Asplund family in the entire United States. I think you're just using this name for notoriety. And the lady's like, no, this is my name, always has been. And by the way, I'm not from the United States. You know, that kind of thing. And of course, she posts it online, this transaction between the two, and it's gotten a lot of attention, negatively, of course, for this. I think it's an Instagram. Sorry, I said Twitter. It's Instagram handle. A lot of negative publicity for this woman, but I didn't know if you'd heard anything about this, but she sounds really lovely.
I mean, people like this kind of crap.
I guess so.
But I think it's also funny that someone posts I'm looking at the texts and everything. So
yeah, she posted the text online saying, look at this interaction between this Catherine and I, and she's not so nice. She said, I would have considered actually giving you my handle name had you just been kind, but you were a rude biatch. So
Well, my favorite, if you read the text, my favorite one was her requiring this other lady for proof that's her name.
Yeah, yeah. Prove to me.
Yeah.
That this is
And
your
it's
name.
ongoing. Like, I don't believe you. I'm going to tell Twitter that you're
So
using.
yeah, she's impersonating. You're
Yeah.
using yeah. Again, she sounds lovely.
Okay, cool. Good luck. Good luck to you. There's only one Dick IV.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. I filled in on your morning. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you that story about my name in the bowler?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I didn't know there was another Richard Schistler out there.
Well, you are the fourth,
Well,
so
Well, I meant like somewhere that's not.
outside of your family.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
I discovered it.
It's not a popular last name.
Oh, no, and so I
don't
discovered
think I've
it
seen it.
because I went to a tournament, a bowling tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my bowl.com, card and everything. And they looked me up, and there's a guy named Rick Schistler in Colorado who had like a 228 average. And he had a
Wow.
PBA card and all that stuff.
Wow.
And people thought it was me. And I go, no, that is not. I go, who?
They see you
No.
throw the ball once and go, no, it's definitely not
Well, no,
him.
it was just funny because I never knew he existed, never looked it up, never bothered.
Right.
And I'm like, this isn't you, right? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they showed it to me, like, you're not from Colorado. I'm like, no.
You should have contacted this guy and been
So-
like, hey, man, I'm going to need for you to change your name. I think you're impersonating this.
You're ruining my average.
Right. Yeah,
Because
exactly.
people think I'm you, and now I'm like, oh, he's a PBA car holder.
Right.
But it was pretty
Right.
funny, and I enjoyed it. Because, people always cheat at those tournaments, so they're really trying to, like, I had to show my ID, and, like, yeah, this is me. Like, I'm in Montgomery County.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought you would enjoy that, because the same name, but it's
Well, that's why
Rick.
you have ID numbers as well,
Yeah.
along with the names.
Well, because how everybody has, like, I've encountered this several times in the bowling community where they don't tell you their actual name they put on the USBC. Mm-hmm. It's like one of them is like, yeah, my name's Joe, and I'm like, okay, Joe, I can't find you, Joe. Oh, that's because I don't go by Joe, I go by Billy. And I'm like, well, why would you tell me your name's Joe?
Right. I have to verify.
Yeah. So there you go. So some guy did impersonate me, but he's a
Mm.
lot better bowler. So shout out to you, Ricky,
In Colorado.
in Colorado.
I filled in on your morning show this past week. It was a lot of fun. Good to see you and Skippy,
Yeah,
your
Brett.
old running mate. Well, somebody put in the comments from the Facebook show that we should discuss this new TikTok poll that was out here recently, went viral, about women's perception of men
Okay.
and whether or not, if they were alone, would they rather encounter a bear in the wilderness or a man in the wilderness? And I said, I think I saw something about this. I'll research it. But it says, if you were alone in the woods, would you rather encounter a bear or a man? That's
pretty wild.
Answers to that hypothetical question have sparked a debate about the vast majority would say they would feel more comfortable choosing a bear. It says the topic has been hotly discussed for weeks as men and women chimed in with their thoughts all over social media. The original account started the conversation asking a group of women if they would rather run into a man that they didn't know or a bear in the forest. And of the 7 women interviewed for the piece, only one of them picked a man. Now, they only interviewed 7 women, but they've since then had like 70,000 comments on this, with
Yeah,
the
that
vast
gets
majority of
trolled.
people, the vast majority of women saying, yeah, man, I think I would rather encounter a bear, which I think this says a lot about society if you think about it. Because if you're encountering a bear in the wild, I think your chances of survival are probably pretty slim, right? Let's be honest. But if you're encountering a man, I just don't think I don't think we're all predators. Let's put it that way. Now, I mean, some of us put signs up on the side of the road indicating how lonely
very
we are.
smart. I'm not, and this is a shout out to all the ladies. That's if you really want to be alone in the woods with a bear, good luck.
That's what I'm getting at. Now, I'm sure
And-
some of these women were trying to be funny or provocative.
Yeah.
But the original poll was more of a serious question, and like I said, 1 out of 7 said a man. And that is kind of sad if you think about it. What does it say about us as men, as a species, or as a gender?
I think it says just enough because we don't care.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things like go for it.
Okay, Dick, let's pretend you're a woman, and I know that you have before.
All right, let me get my face on.
Yeah, I mean, you did just have your breast signed by a rock star
did.
just last week, so let's pretend that you're a woman again.
And he didn't really want to do that. I was very disappointed
Shocking.
to his
Well, the
openness.
Sharpie doesn't work
Open-mindedness. He's
very
not-
well through the hair. Would you rather run up against a bear or a man?
a man.
I would too, man, because you never know. You might get lucky and he's Quite the lover.
Well, not even that. It's like
Handsome. You never
I could
know.
just ignore that man and see you later. But you can't. You ever been around a bear? I have been around a bear.
I mean, only at the zoo
So I was in California I was taking pictures
and
of
at a gay bar
redwoods.
once, but that's a different kind of bear,
Yeah,
I guess.
that's how you introduce yourself. I'm
Yeah.
a bear. No, you're a cub. That's what you are. That's what you should put on your billboard. I'm looking for a bear.
Cub seeks bear.
No, I was hiking, taking pictures of the redwoods, and I looked probably, I would say about 40 yards away from me. There was a brown bear, and I'm sitting there going like,
Why's it got to be brown, man?
because it was brown.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Continue.
And I was sitting there going like, okay, I'm not really off the trail. So I started taking pictures of it, and then it started walking towards me, and I was like, oh, crap. So I kind of like scurried around, turned around, probably did everything incorrectly, but I was like, I'm getting out of there.
Yeah.
It was far enough to where whatever. I was with somebody at the time.
Oh, well, you know the old saying there.
And they're further down the trail, and I kind of casually walk up, and then she's like, "Oh, did you get your pictures?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got my pictures, but do me a favor, look behind me. Is this bear still following me?" And she goes, "There's a bear following you?" And I go, "I haven't turned around. I'm kind of like, maybe if I ignore it, it ignores me. I don't know." And then she looks, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's a bear." And I go, "Yeah,
Yep.
that's a bear."
And all you got to do is just be faster than that person.
And then
That's
I'm-
how you survive a
Yeah.
bear attack.
And I
You
go,
just
let's
have to be
just go
faster
for
than
a
the person
walk.
you're with.
Let's just go for a walk. I don't think it's going to follow us. And it didn't end up following us. But
That's scary, man.
But it was pretty funny because I was like, oh, I want to get a picture of it. And I'm like, oh, shoot, it's getting closer. And
One person wrote, "No one's going to ask me if I led the bear on or gave me a pamphlet on bear attack prevention tips."
I like it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I it's kind of sad. It's a sad state of where we are in
But that's
today's
all a
society.
joke, though.
Probably a
It's
lot of it
cool.
is. It probably is.
It's a joke.
So I don't know something else that has resurfaced here lately, and I actually never saw it the first time around. But have you seen this viral video of Mariah Carey from 2009 when she's being interviewed? I think it's from a UK outfit of some sort, where she claims that she thinks electricity in the United States is free.
I think I've heard of this,
This
but I
is-
also heard that she's not the brightest bulb.
You think? Now, granted, she is worth a lot of money, and she's probably not paying all of her bills. She has someone that does this for her, but she still has to have the concept or the idea that electricity comes in the form of a bill that you have to pay every single month. But it says, acknowledging, the interviewer says, well, there's some previous jargon here, though, but he says, mine is usually buy eggs, pay bill. This catches Carrie off as she asks Bill who? And the interviewer replies, Bill, like electricity. And to which she replies, oh, you have to pay for that? And she says, or the interviewer says, yeah, I don't get it for free. And Mariah says, well, in America, we get it for free. When the interviewer insists that isn't the case, Carrie insists again. She says, well, you do. Maybe you just don't feel like the money's coming out of your pocket, the guy says. But she claims, oh, you don't have to pay for it. Now, I can remember when my kids were little, they didn't understand that, water, we
Yeah.
actually had to pay for it. And I remember explaining this to my kids as they took, long showers or something. I said, hey, man, you're going to run up the water bill. What? Water bill? Well, you have to pay for water? They didn't understand that. This is a grown-ass woman.
Yeah, but you're also.
Jeez Louise,
I mean,
man.
I don't really care, to be honest.
No,
'Cause I think it's
I just
funny.
thought it was funny.
Well, because I always have this skepticism when it comes to anything celebrities do.
Yeah, was she doing it just for attention? Although she doesn't need attention.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's kind of known to be a ditz and kind of known to be
diva, that's
a
for
diva.
sure, yeah,
So it's kind of like it is what it is, and like, does it really bother me that much? I think it's kind of funny
It's funny. Yeah, it's just funny.
because I think the interviewer didn't know what was going on, and I think that's hilarious.
Well, then later she claimed she was kidding, but when you go back and watch the video, which I have, it does not appear that she is
mean,
kidding.
she
She
might-
got very indignant about it, like, no, you don't. Psh, moron, what do you like? I think she felt like maybe he was trolling her. Like, oh, I have to pay a bill. No, you don't. It was very odd.
when she might have been on some medication and she just didn't know what was going on.
No, not her. Anyways, I just think it's funny, and this is how I think out of touch celebrities can actually be.
Well, isn't that the kind of running joke when you ask people what's the price of a gallon of milk?
Oh yeah, and they're not going to know. Or gallon gas.
Because wasn't there one for
politicians,
Bill, like those Bill Gates? I think they asked that to Bill Gates, and he was like, I don't know, like $10. He's like, what on earth?
Oh right. I don't know what.
But then again, like, I don't know because I do not drink milk. So I couldn't answer that question. But I know like orange juice can get. I think orange juice is around like $6.
Is it bad of me that there's certain items I just grab every week and I don't really look at the price because I know I'm going to need it anyways? I think like butter
Well, you're
and
also a
milk
dad.
is kind of one of those items where it could be $4 or it could be $2.35 and I probably wouldn't notice because it's just a couple bucks on an entire bill and I'm not looking at the price. Does that make me a bad person? I don't know.
No, you're not a shopper.
Oh, man. This is really funny, man. A picturesque Japanese town is putting up a giant mesh barrier to block a popular selfie spot near Mount Fuji.
I like it.
This is hilarious. So as it goes, there's a town which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce, although it would be kind of funny if I did. It's at the foot of Mount Fuji, and it's become...
It's Fujikakuguchiliko. No, that
Dude,
was way off.
Nailed it.
That's way off. That's a long name for
Correct,
a
which is
town.
why I had the wherewithal to not even try it. But anyways, it's been overrun with foreign tourists trying to get the perfect shot of Japan's most famous mountain. And the picture that they show is kind of funny because it shows a convenience store,
Yeah, I'm gonna
which
pull
is
it
not
up.
very pretty. And this building looks like, I don't know, an apartment right next to it with this beautiful shot of Mount Fuji behind it, right? Well, when I first read this, story, I'm thinking, how big of a screen are you going to have to block out Mount Fuji? And apparently, the net is going to measure 8 feet wide and 66 feet across. That doesn't seem big enough. Wouldn't you just move to the side?
Well, yeah, I don't
this
know.
doesn't-
I'm kind of curious to see where this goes because I can imagine,
This is
especially
hilarious.
the people who live around there. You're kind of
Yeah.
like, come on, guys.
Well, that's what it says. The official, who did not want to give her name, this is a city official, said that there have been ongoing problems with tourists leaving trash, not following traffic rules, despite the signs, and
Yeah.
security guards even warning them. So the decision was regrettable that they had to take such measures. But I love it. And you know what's funny is a lot of times these small towns are seeking tourists. I mean, this is a large part of the revenue to the city because there's not a lot else going on. This town said,
And there's no upkeep.
we don't even care. I know.
Besides, I mean,
trash
the trash.
pickup, right?
Like, we don't have to do anything to the mountain.
It's just there. But they said, nuh-uh, we don't want any of it, man. I just thought that was hilarious. So I don't know if they're actually going to do it or not, but pretty funny.
I like it.
Oh, this is awesome from the New York Post, which is full of great and wonderful, wholesome stories. A woman who confronted a teenager about her miniskirt has been charged by police. This is kind of wild. There's a woman who's been identified. She's 46-year-old Ida Ann Lorenzo, allegedly pulled down a teen's skirt during an incident that later went viral on TikTok. Lorenzo can be heard on the video claiming that the victim was showing her, quote, ass cheeks. And and that she could see the teens.
She got pants?
And she could see the teen's public hair. No. So apparently this is in Utah. This girl walks in. It sounds like it's at a real high-end steakhouse. And this woman, Ann Lorenzo, looks over and sees this girl who she thinks is dressed inappropriately with her ass cheeks and,
Yeah, I get
and
it.
public hair showing. So she reaches over there and gives the skirt a tug to pull it down, right? This is kind of like akin to, you see some guy with sagging pants and you reach over there and you tell him to pull it up, but you pull his pants up. Well, this whole thing backfired because she now has charges placed against her. And I'm like, man, I don't know if that's right or not, but I don't think she should be allowed to do this either. I mean, if the woman is dressed inappropriately, the establishment will take care of it, right? I'm thinking this is not your job to go in and police what this young lady is wearing, but I just love how she says you could see her ass cheeks and her.
I mean, go for it. Whatever. I thought you were telling me she got pants. I was like, that's hilarious. But
No. Well, it's pants adjacent, I guess, right? It's just sort of a little tug. But what do you think? Do you think this is a problem, or do you think this lady did the right thing? I mean,
no, I don't really care, mainly because it's not my place to say what looks good or bad.
there's so much.
I mean, there is a level of, be aware of your surroundings, but then again, it's if the establishment tells you can't wear that, then
That's what I'm saying. I think this problem would have taken care of itself, I think. Maybe the establishment likes that kind of dress. I don't know. Do they show the girl's face? I don't know if she's an attractive woman or not, but this woman is now in some trouble. So
there you go.
were you a fan, Dick, of the ice cream truck? I think every little kid
Yeah.
was, right? Wasn't it so magical when you could hear off in the distance? Yeah.
Well, it was actually
sound.
a constant problem because what would end up happening with the ice cream truck is we get excited, but no one carries money on them.
Well, you're a kid too.
So that's what I'm saying. So you literally go in your mind, how do I get
yeah,
home?
yeah, well, yeah.
How
hold
do
on,
I
and
ask
then
my mom for a couple of dollars? And then how do I get back and make sure I don't miss it?
right there was this big panic when you'd hear the music. You go, okay, do I have enough time to run inside? Shake down my parents for a couple of bucks of cash, which they may not have. Get back out here in time before the ice cream truck is. Yeah, there was a panic moment for sure, but it was always neat when you'd hear it off in the distance. You're like, oh, did I just hear that? Especially if it's windy and it was kind of coming and going, and you never knew if it was getting closer or going away. Yeah, that was part of the fun, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Did you have a favorite you go to, like bomb stick? I like the bomb stick.
Drumstick.
Yeah.
Drumstick was good. Yeah.
Well, apparently, Mr. Softy, that's the name of an ice cream truck, is now tracking all of their ice cream trucks, and you can buy an app so you know exactly where the ice cream trucks are located.
That's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool, but again, it sort of takes out some of the romanticism of the whole thing. I mean, if you know where they're at any one given time, again, it's that song, it's everything that goes into it.
I mean, I bought ice cream the other day at the convenience store. It was like $4.50 for an ice cream bar. I was like,
Good
I feel like
grief.
that was a lot.
That seems for one bar?
Yeah. It was a Reese's Pieces ice cream bar.
Well, we had the story a few weeks ago about chocolate getting more and more expensive.
So,
That probably had something to do with it.
yeah. And it was really awkward, too, because I didn't really look how much it was. So when he rang it up, I was like, $4.50?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I have a few segments here that I'm going to title after the 55-minute segment. I think we're after 55 minutes at this
It
point.
might be. I don't know.
Are we recording at all?
Are we here? All right, go for it.
Have you ever known anybody who sleepwalks?
Not. I haven't seen it
Or
personally.
witnessed
I think my favorite ones that I could maybe in the same ballpark is they talk in their sleep.
Yeah.
And it's not
I mean, I've done
mumbling;
that.
it's coherent.
Oh, that's a
Like,
little-
It's
okay.
crazy. Like one person told me they wanted to kill me.
Are you sure they were asleep?
Well, I was like, what? And yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then I don't really remember sleepwalking too much.
Yeah, I was at a sleepover one time. I was in grade school, and one of the kids there got up and started walking around. And I was told, hey, he may do this because he sleepwalks. And I kind of saw him getting up and walking around, and I thought, well, I guess he's asleep. I don't know. I didn't bother him, and
Yeah.
he came back eventually. I don't know where he went. But that's sort of my only run-in with it. I've heard crazy sleepwalking stories about people doing amazing things while they're asleep, which we won't really get into here now. But there is a new embarrassing sleep disorder that no one wants to talk about, and it is called sexsomnia. I'm going to try and approach this pretty delicately because we are on the radio here, but a 38-year-old man repeatedly tries to force himself on his wife in the middle of the night, but has no memory of his actions when he wakes up. In another case, a married woman in her 20s tears off her clothing and does things to herself, but remembers nothing in the morning, even though her partner sitting next to her says, "Do you know what you were doing last night?" And then in another one, a 31-year-old man also does this to himself in his sleep so vigorously that he injures himself. But most people are so embarrassed to discuss it because they're unconscious and they're embarrassed because they're doing terrible things to him. Have you heard of this sexsomnia?
I mean, I believe it.
It says these are clinically documented cases of sex sleep, a part of a family of sleep disorders called parasomnias. I think I got that right. Yes. That include sleepwalking, sleep talking, like you said, sleep eating, and sleep terrors. Well, Dick, you are now new again out on the dating scene, although you did mention earlier that you might be settling down with someone. Or
Whatever.
I think you could use this to your advantage, especially in a new relationship.
Oh, yeah.
You could be just
I
as
had to tell you something about myself.
well, no, you could just, be a little, oh, no, I don't want to say that.
Frisky?
Frisky, and then just blame it on the sexsomnia. If you're trying to,
I do like those kind of scenarios where you use excuses to get what you want, and I think I want to do that. I think better watch out, sweetheart.
that's what I'm saying, man.
I'm really tired recently.
Like,
Been
how's she
real
gonna
tired. I need to-
disprove it?
I need to get some sleep. And it happens that like I sleep in my car all the time too. So like might not even be in the house. It might be in the bed in the car. It's kind of like time blindness. That's my favorite
I know.
that we talked about.
Yeah.
Now this is almost up there with that. It's like
Sexsomnia.
well, because wasn't there kind of like a condition when people do sleepwalk, you're not supposed to like startle them
Correct.
because like if you do, they like could just like
Their soul just jumps out of their body or something. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not supposed to wake them up because it can really scare. I've heard stories, you'll get a heart attack or something because they don't know they're asleep. And if you wake them up, they're expecting to be laying in their bed, except they're elbow deep in the freezer, grabbing a frozen Snickers bar because that's what a lot of people do when they're asleep. Says your cognition is deeply asleep and you're not with the program, but your body is activated. Yeah, you're activated, all right, sexually. This is dangerous because you start walking around and doing all sorts of things without your mind being awake, including getting it on with your partner or, in some cases, yourself. Yeah, man. But again, I think you need to warn all of your partners that you have this. And I think really this gives you free run to do a lot of fun things.
Yeah, time blindness.
Time blindness. A story that we have tried to cover in the last few weeks, and I'm just going to cover really quickly here at the end of the show, but scientists accidentally made a mouse grow legs in place of its genitals.
There are pictures?
Yes, it's kind of crazy. Apparently, they turned off a gene early in mouse development that led researchers to end up with an accidental six-legged embryonic mammal. The strange result took the spinal cord research of developmental biologists. I'm not going to say their names. Well, it's in Portugal. Never mind. There's a lot of names in there that I can't say. I love this. So it says, I didn't choose the project, but the project chose me.
Is that not like a Frankenstein quote?
Is it?
I don't know. I made that up.
It says, as the embryo grows, it builds structures sequentially from head to tail. In early development, genetic mechanisms shift from focusing on the head to extending the body and laying the foundations for major organ systems. Later, a second transition occurs where the activation of genes in multiple layers of tissues extend to the trunk and the tail. And it's during this process that the interactions between the new emerging tissues generate structures necessary for the body's exit channels and genitalia. So there was something in there while it was growing where it accidentally started to grow legs.
like it.
Now, would you want to have an extra set of legs there, or are you pretty happy with the way God made you? Because part of me thinks like this could be fairly efficient. Maybe some arms. I don't know about legs.
I don't know. I'm kind of happy with the way I am
Because
right now.
think there's all kinds of benefits to having an extra set of arms in that area if you think about it. Just think about it.
I like who I am.
Just think about it. All right, man, here's the quick hit at the end of the show. Were you aware that there is such a thing called luxury ice cubes? This is the weirdest thing,
I've heard
man.
of, like I know in New York, there's a special ice maker because of the water, and they serve all the like high-end bars.
Right.
I've heard of that, but
Well, this is called Glace Luxury Ice. Now, it has the two dots over the A, so I don't know how is that pronounced? Is it Gloss? Gloss Luxury Ice Company.
Ooh, Luxury Ice Club. Ooh.
Yes, is the world's leading manufacturer drink ice brand. Their proprietary manufacturing process creates a zero-taste profile ice, which, unlike traditional ice products, allows the consumer to maximize, I love this, the beverage experience. This is laced with so much, like, wealthy fluff. I love this.
It's goop.
Yeah, this is goop, yeah. Oh, and apparently it's just massively experienced. But you don't order, like, the ice maker. You order the ice
That's what I'm
itself,
saying.
and they ship it to
Yeah.
you. And I think the shipment is like $450 for a pack of like 60
so I'm
ice
on their
cubes.
website, and for one case of the gloss,
Gloss, luxury ice.
4 times per year, so 4 cases is $1,100.
That is insane.
And it doesn't tell you. Each case contains 8 elegant metal sleeves for a total of 40 perfect pieces. So there's 40 perfect cylinders.
Well, it better be perfect for that cost.
So
That's insane.
but yeah,
This is a lifestyle I am not
I remember
accustomed
reading
to.
about the one because the one in New York was interesting because something about the water there. It's really hard for restaurants because they don't have a lot of room.
Right.
So it's like to keep ice,
Sure.
like to make ice, to keep ice.
Yeah, the ice machine takes up space, I guess.
So they have this service that would drop off ice, and it'd already be made, so they don't have to make it for the drink. So it's like special.
Well, this says our elegant design provides minimal dilution and maximum cooling, greatly enhancing enjoyment at the point of consumption.
They smell their own farts there, and they go.
I bet you they don't. They have
Magnificent.
they have someone else smell them for them.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Cool, man. Well, that's all I have got for this week, buddy. This was craziness. I feel like I had a lot of stories I tried to cram in there all in one time. There's just a lot going on in the world.
It's
A
just
lot
funny
going
to
on
me
in the
that
world.
like someone out there, that's their job.
To make luxury ice or to eat luxury ice?
To make luxury ice.
You know, that's what you need to put on your dating profile. I have sexomnia and I make luxury ice. The luxury ice maker with sexomnia.
Glass.
Gloss.
They call me Glaze.
Ew.
Audience One Show.
And I have
Well,
legs where my genitals are
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Oh, dude, that'd be great. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Always send us your thoughts on Facebook, YouTube, all over the place. Audienceofoneshow@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your news stories that you find interesting, and then other things like that.
Follow us on Facebook, too, if you aren't already doing so, and invite others to do so we can spread word about this crazy show. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time and attention.